So Liverpool win another game late, and I'm like convinced at this point that they just wanted to concede that goal so they could come and score a late winner. Every time I'm starting to get excited that Liverpool might drop points, or wouldn't have been drop points because it's a cup game, or might not win, they just still win. And it's so annoying because I would have kind of liked it if Southampton had knocked you out. But look, to be fair to Liverpool, it was a fully rotated 11. I think like some people will say, oh, it's only a 2-1 win. But it was a fully rotated 11. You had Rio Enyimoa playing, you had Leoni playing, Chiesa played, he was fantastic, Endo, Jones, Leoni, Gomez, Robertson, Marmadashvili. It was a very rotated line that hadn't played together. And I have to say, Marmadashvili, good, Leoni, good, Curtis Jones, I thought was good, Chiesa was absolutely excellent, Isak got his goal, Ekitike was good when he came on, apart from that moment of madness. Frimpong, good second half, not great first half, poor first half. Endo grew into the game, but probably could have done better for the goal. Joe Gomez, I like Joe Gomez, versatile player, but he had a howler today. So we're going to break down what we learned from Liverpool 2, Southampton 1. And I want to particularly talk about Leoni. We also will talk about Chiesa as well. We've got a few things to say on that Leoni debut. So yeah, feel free to let me know how you feel down below, Liverpool fans, or anyone that's watching that's not a Liverpool fan. And let's get into it. So, it's another win for Liverpool. They just always find a way to win. Rotated lineup, it's another win. They had a lot of youngsters. Leoni, I think, grew into the game. And Yumoa, I think, grew into the game. I think he got a bit more space in the second half. Chiesa was the guy just trying to make things happen. I don't think it was the most amazing performance from Liverpool, but I always felt like Chiesa was there trying to make things happen. And look, Southampton tested Liverpool today. It wasn't an easy game. But Liverpool just had that attacking quality. Isak scored, Ekitike scored, Chiesa a big reason behind both goals. And it stood out. I mean, Slots, he's got the depth, he's got the quality, he knows what to do. Like right now, if Gakpo doesn't play well, okay, you can bring Chiesa on, or you can bring Enyimoa on the left-hand side. If you need to take Isak off because Ekitike is suspended, you can bring Chiesa on. I look at Liverpool's depth, and you've got Salah and Chiesa for the right, Ekitike and Isak up top, and Gakpo and Enyimoa for the left. And that's very good depth, especially considering they can all play across each other. But I do think Gomez, Frimpong, and Endo today were a little off the pace. Joe Gomez is a very valuable squad player to have, but today he was pretty bad. Frimpong, I thought, got better, and I thought Endo got better bar the goal. But I felt today that the youngsters were quite impressive, and the more experienced players didn't step up when needed. I think Curtis Jones did well. I think he was trying to run that midfield. And look, some of these players haven't played many minutes this season. They're a bit off the pace. They're a bit off full fitness, whereas the Southampton players have been playing a lot, so that's fully understandable. But I looked at some of the youngsters today, like Leoni, and how he was almost the most commanding in the backline. Leoni was telling Frimpong and Joe Gomez what to do at times and commanding them. And if you'd have watched that game and you didn't know anything about football, you would have assumed that Joe Gomez was the debutant and that Leoni was the experienced player. Leoni was giving Van Dijk energy with his, directing where to go. And I thought Dan's came on and he looked really bright. I thought Leoni had a good second half. I think Rio Enyimoa grew into the game. I thought the youngsters did well. So let's talk about Leoni. So he completed the most passes in the first half in 59, won 100% of his area draws, which is 3 out of 3, and he also made 4 clearances and 2 interceptions. He had a brilliant first 45 minutes, and he had a brilliant game up until he came off through injury. Hopefully that's not a serious injury. Even as a Manchester United fan, I would never wish injury on someone, particularly a young player that looks so promising. I'm actually going to Google his age quickly. I think he's 18. Leoni, he is 18 years of age. I mean, that's mad. But I said it with Dean Huijsen and Lenny Yoro last year. We've seen in the Premier League, like 18-year-old centre-backs can't do it. Like you look at Huijsen, you look at Yoro, and he looks really good for 18. So yeah, he looked like really good at centre-back. 97% pass accuracy, 88 passes, 6 clearances, 3 interceptions, 4 out of 5 duels won. But what stood out to me about Leoni was he looked like a leader. You can see why he's seen as the future Italian centre-back, the future leader. You can see why maybe he's seen as the Van Dijk understudy. Gay's going to come in because Konate probably going to go to Real Madrid next year. Gay might come in January. I think Gay Leoni is maybe Liverpool's way of long-term replacing Van Dijk and Konate. Gay has a season or 2 with Van Dijk as Leoni learns. Leoni comes in. I can see why maybe he's been picked as the long-term Van Dijk replacement, the understudy, because he's so good in the air. He's so commanding in his box. And that's what Van Dijk brings. Van Dijk brings leadership. He commands his box. And the fact that he was almost telling Frimpong and Gomez where to be, he gave a real sense of leadership for a debut at his age, which is crazy, organising his team, being vocal, but not just winning balls in the air, not just being a very strong box defender. Look, he was calm on the ball. He read the game well. He won his duels with ease. He was very comfortable. He was very physically imposing. And that's a big thing because when you're 18, sometimes you're not as physically ready, but he looks physically ready. Now, a couple people might say, but Alice, this is Southampton, it's only Southampton, it's one game, you can't judge him off one game. Very true. But you can only judge what's in front of him. This is the only game we got to judge him, and he played very well. And I was very impressed personally. I can see where he's been compared to a Van Dijk. Of course, let's see how he does against Premier League opposition. Let's see how he does over time. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Van Dijk, but what we know from his time in Italy and what we know from watching him play today, I can see why he's very highly rated. He looked like a leader. He looked like a future Italy captain, instructing players. And, there's an injury scare late on, and hopefully that's nothing serious. But right now, if you're Arne Slot and both him and Joe Gomez are fit and something happens to Kanate, who are you putting next to Van Dijk? Because I know that Leoni's more similar to Van Dijk, but based off that performance, you probably go Leoni. He looked really good. Very good in the box, very physically imposing, and let's hope it's not a serious injury and he gets some more chances soon. We've got to talk about Federico Chiesa. 81% pass accuracy, 4 chances created, 2 assists, 1 out of 3 shots on target, 2 out of 4 dribbles completed, 5 out of 8 duels won, 2 interceptions. And as they mentioned below the tactical times, the best player on the pitch by a mile was always a case of fitness and confidence. He has a very high ceiling, and I agree. I know Chiesa is a good player, and I think Liverpool getting him for 14 million was a very good bit of business. And it might not feel that way because he's not got many opportunities. And I do think, and I don't have many negative things to say about Arne Slot, but I do think Arne Slot has done him hard. Obviously, a big issue with Chiesa is confidence and fitness. If Chiesa is fit and confident, there's a good player there. And he had to work up to full fitness, and he's had a lot of horrid injury issues. But you saw it when he came off the bench in the Carabao Cup final. He came off the bench versus Bournemouth. He's got a really good goals and assists per minute ratio for Liverpool when he is fit, when he does play. He really does make an impact. And today, he was so selfless. He could have shot. He passed it to Ekitike. 4 big chances created, two assists. He was dribbling at people. But what I noticed is the game was quite flat. But whenever Chiesa got the ball, he was hungry, he was determined, he wanted to make things happen. And when he didn't have the ball, if he was dispossessed, he was doing everything he could to win it back. The level of energy he had today, he looked so much fitter than everyone else. He was running crazy amounts. And that's a big positive to his game because I think a fully fit Chiesa has a lot to offer. And I think he looked better when he went out wide than he does when he goes through the middle. But sometimes Arne Slot ignores him. Sometimes Arne Slot turns to the bench and he ignores Chiesa. And I think with Chiesa's impact off the bench, how he has got a really good goals and assists per minute ratio, Arne Slot should look to the bench more because I do rate Cody Gakpo highly, but I don't think Cody Gakpo started this season well. Ekitike is going to be suspended for the next game, I think. So why don't you go and look at someone like Chiesa off the bench? You've got Rio Enyimoa, who's a great talent. And I think Rio Enyimoa has been picked over Chiesa for the UCL squad. But I do look at Chiesa and I think he offers a lot more than he gets credit for. And I think one thing about Chiesa is he's going to give you everything. He's going to run and run and run, and he's going to work hard, and he's so determined to make things happen. And, he assisted Isak, he assisted Ekitike, he created 4 chances today. The running, the energy, the pressing was relentless, defending from the front. He was trying to make things happen. Like, he was definitely Liverpool's standout player today. I thought he was really impressive. And apparently, according to Twitter statistics, so I don't know how accurate they are, but at Liverpool, he averages a goal or assist every 86 minutes. And I'm quite shocked he wasn't picked for the UCL squad. I really am. Let's talk about Ekitike. The goal showed striker instincts. The positioning was good. The finish was good. It was quite an easy finish, but he was there at the right moment. He was dropping deep. He was holding up play. Ekitike's all-round performance, his cameo, his touches, his passes, his movement, his involvement, his intelligence, I would say, but not maybe intelligence now with the red card, was really good. He was dragging defenders around. He held up the ball well. Obviously didn't link with Isak because he was on the pitch with Isak, but he linked well with Chiesa there, and then Chiesa also linked well with Isak when Isak was on the pitch. Should proofread my notes. But he held the ball well, and I think when he can play with Isak, they will be really good together. I think Isak and Ekitike, when they can play together, will be good. We've not seen Isak and Ekitike play together yet, but he was linking with Chiesa. I think he will link with Isak well when Isak comes in. And I think if you take away the red card, I thought it was a very good, very complete performance. I thought Isak had a calm game. He showed with the finish, not like Nunes might have not scored that. It might have been seen as an easy goal for Isak, but Nunes might not have scored that. he's going to score those goals. He's reliable in front of goal. You can see where Liverpool invested heavily. He wasn't super involved in the game. Wasn't given loads and loads of service, but he was a focal point. He could drift wide. He could combine with players, and when he got the ball, he scored. And that's what you want a striker to do. And when I look at this Liverpool game, when I break down this Liverpool game, Leoni 18, Leoni 18, Rio Enyimo I think is 17 now. That's 3 teenagers playing. A lot of players like Endo, who hasn't played a lot this season, Gomez hasn't played a lot this season, Dashvili debut, very strong debut, wasn't tested loads, couldn't do much for the goal, but very strong debut. You see this really young Liverpool core, a couple of experienced players in there, the young players are stepping up, but one thing you've got to give to Arne Slot is, even when he rotates his full 11, even against a championship side, and we know from Chelsea struggling and Man United struggling, not every game is easy, it's not just a walk in the park of a championship side, but even against championship sides, Arne Slot coaches a win. Even against weaker sides, he can coach a win. And it just shows that he's a good, adaptable manager that knows how to get the best out of his players. And I think Slot was trusting the academy today, and it was paying off. And I think my main takeaways from the game is, even with rotation, Liverpool won. Chiesa, Ekitike and Isak scored. Chiesa was great. Leoni was great. Dashvili was great. What more could Liverpool fans want? Maybe a more dominant win, but it was a fully rotated 11. Dashvili looked impressive, and this was a weakened Liverpool side, and it still got the win against a Southampton side, which, you'd expect them to beat, but it's not always easy when you rotate a full 11 and not everyone's fully fit and not everyone's played together. So, I thought that Liverpool did well to win. I don't think they were amazing. I don't think they were brilliant, but they won, and that's the most important thing. Let me know your thoughts down below. Bye.